Studio, Sri Lanka.
Joining to you live from the National News Studios, this is the National News Broadcast. I am Malsha Dharmavardhana together with Lakshita Edrisinghe.
Japanese assistance to Sri Lanka for the success of the IMF monetary program. Expectations of receiving $2.90 billion from the IMF by December of this year. Speedy calling of a tender to procure coal. Russian Aeroflot Airlines resume operations in Sri Lanka. 800,000 spectators at the Colombo International Book Fair. Water and tear gas attack on the protest of the Socialist Youth Association. Price of bread in Colombo exceeds the bread price in Jaffna. The sterling pound of United Kingdom shows a comparatively less value against the dollar after 38 years. Super tennis player Roger Federer retires from international matches.
On to those and other stories in detail now, starting with your local stories. Japan reiterates commitment to extend support to Sri Lanka for successful implementation of the financial relief program of the International Monetary Fund.
Meanwhile, the Reuters news agency says it is expected to finalize the program for Sri Lankan government to receive credit amounting to $2.90 billion from the IMF by December of this year. Japanese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Hideaki Mizukoshi, has disclosed facts relating to Sri Lanka's debt restructuring program at an interview with the Reuters news agency. The envoy has reiterated that Japan is willing to play a positive role by joining with Sri Lanka's creditors, including China and India. Discussions are already underway for foreign debt restructuring exceeding $3 billion on Sri Lanka. Online talks have been conducted with private creditors yesterday. At the talks, the central bank has informed the creditors that it is anticipated to reach agreement by middle of November by securing their guarantees. Sri Lanka also hopes to receive the approval of the board of directors of the IMF on loan disbursement by December this year. An agreement on the working level has been launched by the beginning of this month. The Reuters reports add that Sri Lanka is anticipating on a successful completion on bilateral debt restructuring talks with China, India and Japan by November of this year.
General Manager of the Lanka Coal Company, Namal Hevage, says that an immediate calling of tenders for the purchasing of coal will take place on the next Tuesday. This measure has been taken as a result of the cancellation of the anticipated tender for coal purchasing recently. The Cabinet of Ministers have granted approval for the recommendation of the tender's procedure. General Manager of the company says that inability to purchase coal during the specific period would lead to a massive power cut in future. General Manager of the Lanka Coal Company, Namal Hevage, said that the Cabinet of Ministers have granted approval for a new tender following the situation that has arisen due to the cancellation of the earlier tender called by Lanka Coal Company. All arrangements are being made for the convening of the new tenders by Tuesday for next week. The existing coal stocks are sufficient only up to 25th of next month. Therefore, inability to secure coal prior to this date would make it necessary to enforce power cuts of a duration of 10 to 12 hours each day. The current main source of power is Norechule Power Station. An open tender procedure will be enacted to enable any prospective bidder to take part in the process. The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation says the Aeroflot Airlines of Russia is ready to recommence its operation in Sri Lanka.
The airline, which has been subject to much controversy in the recent times, is scheduled to recommence operations with effect from the 9th of next month. The Aeroflot is preparing to restart services in the country due to the interventions of Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva and also taking into consideration the long-standing diplomatic relationship between the government of Russia and Sri Lanka.
අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඔවුන්ට ලබා දීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු කළ යුතුයි.
In the meantime, maintaining of traditional rituals pertaining to the Asala Perahera festival of the Valukaramaya Vihara in Kollupitiya and extending of floral tributes to the marble chaitya brought from Myanmar has taken place under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday.
The president, upon arrival at the Vihara, was engaged in venerating the chaitya made up of marble by offering flowers. Thereafter, the president has placed a casket of sacred tooth relic on the relics chamber with the commencement of the Pavada Perahera of the Asala pageant. Chief incumbent of 5 viharas, including the Valukarama Mahavihara in Kollupitiya and Chief Sanganayaka of the Uva province and the Colombo, Disava Venerable Maharagama Nanda Thera and Venerable Uduwela Kolita Thera of the Valukarama Vihara have handed over to the president a Buddha statue made up of sandalwood. The ceremony was presided over by Mahanayaka of the Kotte Sri Kalyani Dhamma Mahasangha Sabha and Chancellor of the Sri Jayawardhanapura University, Most Venerable Dr. Ittapane Dhammalankara Thera. Mahasangha of the 3 Nikayas have also participated in the ceremonies. Others who have graced the occasion included Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, Minister Nimau Siripala da Silva and Vidura Vikramanayaka, President of the United National Party and Parliamentarian Vajira Bewardena, Presidential Senior Advisor and Chief of President's Staff Sagar Ratnayaka, General Secretary of the UNP Palita Range Bandara, former Ministers Daya Gamage and Mrs. Anoma Gamage. Today is the 9th day of the Colombo International Book Fair.
Large crowds have been arriving at the venue of the book exhibition at the BMICH premises since 9 o'clock in the morning. The national television is the official electronic media sponsor of the event. Reading is an important characteristic in a literate society. Literacy means the basic ability of writing and reading. Sri Lanka's percentage of literacy by the year 2018 has been 91.7%. However, by the year 2021, a somewhat decline in the literary rates has been witnessed. The preliminary cause for such drawback appears to be the global prevalence of the COVID pandemic. It has also been pointed out that readers of books have now been accorded the special opportunity to visit the International Book Fair to gain upper hand knowledge on the situation. Tomorrow is the final day of the exhibition. The spectators to the SLRC stall at the exhibition are able to purchase the CDs on the programs telecast by the national television over the past 40 years to enlighten the general public of the country. The national television also focuses special emphasis on children's books as well. Children are able to gain a first-hand knowledge on children's literary works at the stall. The police has dispersed a protest march conducted by the Socialist Youth League by launching a water and tear gas attack today.
The protests have been organized under the theme "The End Repression and Immediate Resignation of the Government." The march has commenced under the Lipton Round this afternoon. The police have disbanded the procession when it was proceeding in the direction of Colombo through Dean's Road. Meanwhile, another mobile protests have been conducted in Kalutara today in the town, requesting to annul the Prevention of Terrorism Act.
Obtaining of signatures of the general public for the cancellation of the act has also taken place today. An island-wide mobile protest campaign is scheduled to be conducted from Kankasanture to Hambantota. Parliamentarian M.A. Sumantiran said they are going to each and every district. He further said that people in all districts including Anuradhapura, Kurunegala, Kegalle and Colombo are extending their support. The MP further said that nobody is talking in opposition to their stance regarding the act. Parliamentarian Rajitha Senaratne said that the protest campaign will be joined by all residents from Kankasanture to Hambantota. This is a show of brotherhood to safeguard democracy and human freedom.
A program to hand over deeds to the houses of Mahavali zone settlers in Moragahakanda has got underway yesterday under the instructions of Mahavali Minister Roshan Ranasinghe. The aim of the program is to hand over deeds without delay to persons who have been staying in Mahavali land for a period of over 20 years without having permanent land deeds. The program have been dubbed as Your Mahavali Heritage. 15,000 land deeds are scheduled to be distributed in 10 Mahavali zones.
President of the Restaurant Owners Association, Asela Sampath, said at a media briefing today that it was due to the conducting of a wheat flour mafia that bread prices in Colombo have surpassed the bread prices in Jaffna. President of the Restaurant Owners Association, Asela Sampath, said that there is a bread flour mafia prevailing in the country. Today, the price of a loaf of bread is 200 to 220 rupees. But the Prima company issues a kilo of wheat flour to the market at the rate of 220 rupees, which means a bundle of wheat flour costs 13,000 rupees. President of the association has questioned as to how, under such circumstances, a kilo of wheat flour reached the figure of 410 rupees. The president of the association, commenting on prices issued by the Satosa, said that retail outlets of the institute gives customers matchboxes, toffees and other items in place of balance money. He added that Satosa has a responsibility to protect the consumer. A ceremony to commemorate the 92nd National Day of Saudi Arabia was held at the Shangri-La Hotel in Colombo yesterday.
Now it was organized by the Saudi Arabian Embassy in Sri Lanka. Officer in charge of the Saudi Arabian mission as well as the newly appointed Saudi Arabian envoy have presided over the ceremony. The event was attended by the clergymen, ministries, parliamentarians, ambassadors, Sri Lankan business community as well as officials in the state and private sector. The ceremony has commenced with the singing of national anthems of Sri Lanka and Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabian embassy have reiterated on the importance of bilateral relations. Among the high-ranking local politicians who have raised the occasion included Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, Speaker Mahinda Yapabewardena, Ministry of Environment Nazir Ahmed, Minister of Foreign Employment Manusha Nanayakara and Minister of Justice Vijayadasa Rajapaksa. A new program has been commenced to enlighten school children and heads of government and private sector institutes on island-wide scale in order to minimize the incident of drowning, which has been recorded an increase on a daily basis.
The main program in this connection has taken place at the Ibbankatua Reservoir in Dambulla yesterday. The program is being implemented by the Police Naval Division. Participants of the program have been educated on ways of minimizing drowning incidents as well as on methods of speedily rescuing the life of a drowned person. It has also been reiterated on protective measures to be taken when going for bathing. The manner how accidents are taking place in reservoirs has been demonstrated. The precautionary methods include receiving the assistance of the life-saving and disaster management officials, provision of first aid and other lively activities. The Matale District Disaster Management Division, the Police Naval Division, the Dambulla Headquarters Police Station and Life-Saving Unit, as well as Police Life-Saving Units of Kandy, Nuwara, Theldeniya and Anuradhapura have also taken part in the operations.
Welcome back. Taking a look at your international stories and a story from Syria. At least 77 migrants have died after the boat they were traveling in sank off Syria's coast in Thursday, the media reported. 20 survivors were taken to hospital while rescuers continue to search for missing passengers. Officials said Lebanese, Syrian and Palestinian nationals, including women and children, were believed to be among 120 to 150 people on board. It is not clear what caused the accident. Officials added that the vessel had departed from Minye, a city near the Lebanese port city of Tripoli, before it sank near the Syrian island of Aeroflot. The boat is believed to have been heading to Cyprus when it sank.
People have died in the accident. The small vessel bound for Italy.
The embattled British pound fell 3.5% against the dollar yesterday after the new UK government announced a radical economic plan in a bid to boost growth. Sterling had dropped as low as $1.084, extending losses it made after the measures were unveiled in the morning in London. The pound has been on a precipitous fall against the greenback this year, hitting levels this month not seen since 1985, when it fell to $1.042. Yesterday's measures were billed by the government as heralding a new era for the UK focused on growth and included a mix of tax cuts and investment incentives for businesses. Meanwhile, investors also ditched UK bonds amid a rise in expected government debt. The Bank of England said on Thursday that the UK economy was likely already in a recession as it raised interest rates by 50 basis points.
And moving on to the world of tennis, we have some emotional news coming on. One of the world's super tennis players, Roger Federer of Switzerland, has retired from international tennis.
On 5 occasions and the French Open title once. In many instances, Roger Federer has remained the number 1 in the world tennis rankings. Altogether, he has secured 103 tennis championship trophies. Federer had entered the international tennis arena in the year 1998 and bid farewell to World Championship matches by competing in the Lever Cup tennis tournament held in London, England. A significant feature has been that many of the world's most renowned tennis players participated in his final tournament.
I told the guys I'm happy, I'm not sad, so it feels great to be here. Thank you, everybody. I've had so many people cheer me on, and you guys here tonight means the world.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news bulletin on Rupavahini. Do join us tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.
Good night.